Okay, so Daily Investor said South Africa has over 28 million social grant recipients and only 7.4 million personal income taxes. Well, this is African time. The name is Vidashi. Well, I don't know how to take this, but it seemed like His Excellency Ramaphosa was actually happy when he was saying this on live TV, saying that South Africa has now over 28 billion people receiving social grants, which is commendable though. A lot of African countries are failing to do this for their citizens. Actually, this is important. Like, people are actually having the feel of their raw materials and things. But it says only 7.4 million personal income taxes. Well, that is what I have a problem with. What does that even mean? No, wait a minute. What does that even mean? Well, let's see this. This one says, basic maths tells us that this is going to end in tears. Well, again, this one also says, petition for those 7.4 million people to be the only ones who vote, at least just for one election. Just want to see something. Bro, what do you want to see here? What do you want to see? I know people are not actually... Most people are never happy paying taxes. So if they are to all be the only ones to vote, guess what they are going to vote against? Or guess who they are going to vote against? Yeah, you that are giving them a lot of taxes to pay. Yeah, it's you I'm talking about. You. Yes, yeah. Okay, now it says, this one says, this is crazy business and doesn't make sense. How can a normal government be proud of this madness? Well, me too. I have an issue with that. How do you say 28 million people benefit from the sweat of only 7.4 million people? How does that even work with you? How are you happy with that? First of all, I'm happy that people are actually, you guys are doing your best to erase poverty and then making people have a easy life. But why should that be on the expense or expense of just 7.4 million people to pay that huge for these people? That is where I have a problem with that. Okay, now let's actually see what Daily Investor had for us. So it says, President Cyril Ramaphosa praised the government's pro-poor policies in his State of the Nation address, SONA, revealing that more than 28 million people receive monthly social grant payments. This is 4 times the number of South Africans who pay personal income tax. The country only has 7.4 million personal taxpayers. Since the dawn of democracy, in quotes, we have worked together to reduce poverty. Today, our country spends around 60% of our national budget on the social wedge. That is in quote, Ramaphosa said to Chess during his SONA, or State of Nation address. Okay, it says this includes social grants, healthcare, education, community development, and public employment programs. It also says, in quote, more than 28 million unemployed and vulnerable people in our country receive social assistance. More than 10.5 million learners go to public schools where they do not have to pay fees, Ramaphosa said. Furthermore, over 900,000 students pursuing tertiary education received funding. We are providing a means through which South Africans can raise above poverty that has been passed down from our generation to next. Ramaphosa said this. While South Africa has been praised for its extensive social safety net, it has also been warned that the current situation of grant recipients and non-paying taxpayers is unsustainable. Well, first of all, I would say that's a great achievement from the president, giving social grants and making sure that people, mostly for the educational funds too, that people actually go to school without paying much like that is good. And also, unemployment people are also being met with some grants to actually make their life easy for them is also good. But the question still rises that how do you do that? Like, it says, while South Africa has been praised for its extensive social safety net, it also has been warned that the current situation of grant recipients and non-paying taxpayers is unsustainable. That is the word I've always wanted to look for. It's unsustainable. How do you say that people on grants or social grants are more than the taxpayers? For how long are you going to continue doing this, Mr. President? For how long are we going to continue doing this? Well, now let's actually dive inside. It shows that 7.4 million individuals in South Africa pays income tax, significantly less than the number that receive social grants. However, the numbers are even worse on analysis. An associate at the Free Market Foundation, Nicholas Woodsmith, said his analysis showed that only 3 million South Africans pay 90% of the income tax. Whoa. Which is an extremely narrow tax base. Whoa. Again, it says, This not only means that a tiny number of South Africans are being squeezed to fund the government spending plans, but it's also highly vulnerable to external shocks. But that's true. He also says, on quote, he says, on top of this, we are burdened with a host of other invasive taxes. Wood Smith explained. He says, taxes on savings and investments, on what we purchase locally and overseas. We are taxed for working. Our employees are taxed for allowing us to work. Wow. We are taxed when we commute to work through the fuel levy. We are taxed when we die, and our heirs are taxed again. The most heavily taxed among us already have to pay over 45% of their income, with fears that new wealth tax will further weigh on South Africa's riches. And the worst thing of all, despite our heavy tax burden, South Africa has a little to show for. It's, as he said, this is not good. This is so not good. There's so much heavily taxed on just a few of people that are actually working. It's so not good. It says very little of what is publicly budgeted is spent publicly. Money disappears into corruption, incompetence, and overpaid public staffers. Data from the International Monetary Fund, that the IMF, shows that around 30% of all government expenditures goes towards paying the salaries of state workers. Whoa. As a result, Wood Smith said many South Africans who do pay tax actively look to minimize their burden and may consider financially immigrating as a result. It's no wonder that many South Africans don't want to pay tax. They work hard, having to pay extra for private healthcare and private security, then have to foot the bill for a minister's new fleet of BMWs. The National Treasury estimates it will spend out 266.21 billion on social grants in the 2024-2025 tax year, a massive expense funded by dwindling tax base. Now, Wood Smith explained that the end result of all this slow economic growth as over-taxation translates into capital flight and extracts wealth from productive members of society. Well, Wood Smith, thank you for this explanation. And I think it's a common sense. A basic math actually describe this. Like, whoever thought this is a good idea is actually worse in South Africa right now. How do you tax the few working class and they used to pay 28 million people social grants, 900 children in tertiary schools, and also taxing them almost everything? People was now trying to find different routes, and when they stop paying taxes, how are you going to continue with this? It's so unsustainable. I thought all these grants or social grants South Africans have were actually being backed with the natural mineral resources deals. That is their platinums, their magnesium, their golds, the oil, all the things that they have was actually, that is what they are backed with. That is what backed their social grants. Not knowing it's actually taxpayers' money that is used to back this, then it's actually not sustainable. So the question is, what are the benefits of all those products, the minerals that you are gifted on your lands? What are they actually being used for? I thought they are the ones that were used for to make the country people better, but now I'm actually seeing different thing here. Well, any comment you have at the comment section, you can actually share on the point, and I'll be so glad to be there with you and have some quick discussion about this topic we are discussing right now. My name is Vidashi, this African Time. Hopefully I've learned something, you have known something. Don't forget at the comment section, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel, and let's discuss more about Africa. Thank you for your time.